We acknowledge that the Burbs podcast is taking place on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam First Nation. We thank the Coquitlam who continue to live on these lands and care for them, along with the waters and all that is above and below. I guess I'll just start. Okay, welcome to the podcast. Today we have Nicole and Jerome, and we are at Bunsen Lake. Nicole, please tell us about Bunsen Lake.
Bunsen Lake. Well, I don't have much to say about Bunsen Lake.
Jerome, do you have anything to say about Bunsen Lake?
Yeah, I love this place. It's one of the few humongous parks in Coquitlam, along with White Pine, and there's some small ones like Lafarge. But Bunsen is one of the only beaches, like real beaches on this coastal area. So I love it here.
I think we're actually in Port Moody.
Oh.
Or Anmore? Is Anmore a city?
Okay, well,
I'm going to cut that
as
out.
a young child, when I swam with the Coquitlam sharks, we used to come here every summer for Survivor Week, and then we would do a swim in the lake.
There's
And
sharks
that's
in
it.
Coquitlam.
How old were you?
I was like, this is from age 4 to like 12.
That's a
a
long time.
That's like 8 years.
You must be really good at swimming.
Actually, like everyone in my swim club was scared of the water and the lake, so we just all like jumped in fear and then swam really fast and then immediately left. So yeah,
Cool.
that's my
Something I would have
experience
done.
with Bunsen Lake.
I actually failed swimming.
Me too.
I had to
Really?
retake.
I failed level 8 3 times.
Better than me.
I think I failed 5, like 4 times.
I failed
and then I
5.
never came back, and I still don't know how to tread.
But I was like a competitive swimmer, so me failing level 8 3 times was like embarrassing. Like really embarrassing. But it's fine. He drove from failure. Do you feel like Coquitlam is very separate?
I think so, in a way. The city centers are separated by a lot of residential area. So it's kind of clumped up in a way.
Actually,
I
that's
think a
really
lot of-
true. I don't think I would have gone to the other side of Coquitlam
Yeah,
if I didn't
exactly.
have to.
But at the same time, a lot of cities are like that.
What is the other side of Coquitlam?
Like, you know, Spaney Pool,
I actually
Best.
do not.
Blue Mountain,
Really?
Best,
Blue Mountain.
that area.
Best,
Okay.
like that area. Yeah.
I
You
love
don't
how
know
that's the
Spaney?
other side, that
That is the other side.
we're the side.
Well,
Well, we
the
kind
side
of
that-
are because we're like in like that's where the city center is. That's
Yeah.
where the mall is.
mm-hmm. It's the
guess
side I
so.
know, so it is my side.
But isn't like parts of Lougheed considered Coquitlam? North Road is the border.
That's
Yeah.
actually really true.
So that's
So
another
is that a
side.
third side? There's
Could
3
be,
sides.
yeah. And then Heritage could be another side, like Burke Mountain.
Oh, Burke Mountain does feel different than
Yeah.
like Westwood at least, doesn't it?
Yeah. Whereas Vancouver, I think, Vancouver is a really big city, so there are also a lot of different areas.
How did you feel about Vancouver growing up?
It's just more people. Like my school was huge.
You went to school in Vancouver.
Yeah, in elementary school. And I always loved getting to know the people in my school. So I had a lot of friends, and, I felt really comfortable there. Everything was walking distance, like the parks and shopping and all, yeah, everything. But then as soon as I moved away to Burnaby, everything was a lot more spread out, and it was harder to keep in touch. And then after that, I moved to Maple Ridge, which I did not like because it was completely opposite, culturally and also geographically. Like, there is no city center. It's very spread out, and the people there are so different. It's, everyone had a pickup truck and an ATV, which I was not used to. And it just was a huge shift for me. So eventually, I went to Chinese school in Coquitlam, and I met some people, and my mom made some friends over there, and so that's what brought me to Coquitlam. It was a healthy medium between the outskirts and total differences versus what I was used to originally. East Vancouver, there were a lot of Asian people, there were a lot of immigrants, so I think that's something I could relate to in Coquitlam. There's a lot of Koreans or Asian people as well, and it's a very diverse community.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like, was there, I guess, like a sense of familiarity with an immigrant population then?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, People near me could relate to different situations and show empathy towards what other people have been through, regardless of class. Also, being able to speak the same language or see other people, because I'm half Chinese, other people that were actually Chinese, it's a huge connection point. In Maple Ridge, there was only 2 other Chinese people in my class, and I was in a split class, so it was really big, like 40 people. Only 2 other people were Asian. One was very weird, so just it was hard to get along. He has special needs, and the other person was born in Maple Ridge, so did not feel Chinese at all.
Were you cognizant of that, like at that age? I don't think I was that aware of like the racial demographics of our schools and how that
But do you
influenced
think-
me.
But there was like a lot of Asians at our school.
So I guess
though,
maybe
so-
that's why I didn't think about it.
Yeah. Did you think about it?
I did, yeah. I went from a school where, everyone was an immigrant, and I didn't really think about it. I didn't even notice, to going to a school that was predominantly Caucasian, or where people grew up there, or just the way they talk and their cultures and how they were brought up was very different. So definitely noticed it. I
Like an
didn't-
actual culture shock.
Yeah, in a way, considering it's only an hour away, a few
Mhm.
cities, I didn't think it would be that big.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very big.
Did you ever feel like a desire to be less Asian, to like fit in?
Wow,
Did you
deep
ever just
questions
not want
now.
to be Asian?
Deep questions. I did, yeah, for a little bit. I like how this was the podcast that was not supposed to be so Asian themed, but I guess it's what we grew up with.
Did you ever like not want to be Asian?
Oh, of course. I would find like I found pride in like being called a banana,
Oh, yeah.
which is
I
like
relate
so
to that,
strange
yeah.
looking back on, that I wanted so badly to be like whitewashed. Like I found that as like a compliment,
Yeah, yeah.
which is
Which is crazy.
yeah.
I had the cliche, dumplings smell weird in the lunchbox.
Mhm.
Like, oh, what are you eating? And
Well, yeah, it's kind of crazy because back then there was like that whole stigma around the food, but now Asian food is cool.
Yeah, there are a
That's
lot of
interesting.
cultural
Actually,
festivals.
the cultural aspects. I feel like that's actually what I pitched for this podcast specifically. How Coquitlam was kind of like an in between of like there were immigrants, but like people could still be racist, or there was like a pride flag, but people would still be homophobic, and like we grew up in a school of Asian people, but we still felt this need to be white.
That's so
Mhm.
true. I don't think there were a lot of. Most people at Summit were Asian, right?
Hmm.
Where does
So
that
what was
stem
that?
from? I don't know.
Just from my experience, there's a lot of people coming to Canada. You're associated with a lot of Canadian normalities, whereas your home country is completely different. Like all the Asian cultures and countries, the way that they did things was completely different. So just trying to bridge the gap and step away from that, because that was kind of labeled as traditional or kind of weird compared to how people did things here. So it's almost trying to separate, for me at least, myself from the traditional way of doing things and fit in with my peers more.
Were you born here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was your mom or
No.
dad? Okay. So you're like first generation.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you feel any obligations to fill any boxes? You as well. Question for you.
Oh, 100%. Well, I'm like the oldest daughter as well. I just feel like, okay, for me, I feel like my parents and my grandparents gave a lot to come to Canada. So then I felt this pressure to like perform and like make them proud and make them see that their sacrifice like isn't for nothing, even though it's like so cliche. But that's like why like I wanted to be a doctor for so long, because my parents, they're like, doctor or engineer, that's the way to go. That'll make us proud. So that's where I am here now. Wow.
How do you feel about that you filled that? Or actually, did you feel a pressure to? And like how young were you set on that path?
I was like, I think like 5. when I was like, I want to be a doctor. I feel like a lot of my self-worth as well was like put on getting into med school or not. So like I applied like 3 times. The first 2 times when I got rejected, I was like devastated. I was like, I'm such a disappointment to my parents. Like, yeah.
Did you ever talk about that with them?
No, I don't think so. Because I feel like also my parents, they're like not very open about like discussing emotions and stuff. I don't know if that's the same for you guys. I don't know if that's like a immigrant, like Chinese parent person. But yeah, never discussed emotions. Yeah. I don't know.
So is that something you actually wanted to do?
I feel like I don't know if I was just like that was just put in my head at such a young age and that's all I've ever known. But like even like when I didn't get into med school, my dad works in tech. He's like an engineer and he's like, go to tech, and that's what I did. I just went to tech as a backup, even though I had zero passion about it. But yeah. What was the question?
I don't know if there was.
I was a stubborn kid.
I was a stubborn kid as well.
Yeah, I would always question everything. Maybe it's because I had so much autonomy when I was young, or I could just, my mom was a single mom for a really long time, so I was able to just talk to her one-on-one, and I felt that there was not so much parenting, and it was just kind of speaking my mind a lot of the time.
Sweet.
That is sweet.
Yeah, but also lack some emotional discussions. So I felt a sense of freedom, but at the same time, my other family is very, very traditional. So still a lot of pressure to get good grades and stuff. And eventually I just sort of gave up and there were no real consequences. So
what prompted you to give up?
I think all the changes, moving around and seeing that what I thought was very secure and permanent was just, instantly changed in a year when I moved away. All of what I worked so hard for and all of my friends and associations and all of the teachers and projects that I created were, I had to start all over again. And then again, moving to Coquitlam.
Yeah.
So I noticed, maybe my values or what was really important to me kind of changed. Yeah.
Do you feel the same? You switched schools.
But for me, like, it was just a year that I went to a different school. But I feel like I did miss out on a lot of, like, I don't know, like, when you were in grade 8 at Summit, that's when you made, like, a lot of your friendships, right?
I made, like, one friend.
Okay. So maybe I didn't miss out on anything. But I just feel like I, like, left Coquitlam. I kind of ditched all my friends, to be honest. And then I went to Burnaby, and then because I thought I was going to stay in Burnaby, and then I ended up coming back, and I, like, didn't have friends, so I had to, like, try and start making friends again. And then I felt like everyone had their, like, established friend groups already from, like, middle school. So it felt
really
hard
tough?
to, like, get in.
Yeah. I think that's one thing we kind of share, all 3 of us.
Aw.
Yeah. People have their established friend groups from, like, elementary school. And I feel like you talk about this a lot, like, social groups in Vancouver specifically, like, cliquey and everybody just sticks to themselves.
Yes.
But we're all here, and we all got
And
through
we're friends now. What is this?
I don't know.
How was that, though, growing up? More floating?
It was really tough at first because I had so many established friends, and then I could slowly see them drifting away. And then I had to make new ones, and it's hard to see who you click with, especially as you get older. I think as a kid, it's very natural. You just see someone who you want to hang out with, go to the playground, and you guys are friends.
Yeah.
And there's no real thought behind it. Or you're partnered up with someone in class, and okay, we get along. We're friends now. But as you get older, there's so many other kind of boundaries or unspoken things about who you should be friends with. And there's also for some people like parental pressure, there's social pressure, there's just activities that you are able to do or are unaffordable to some people. So there's a lot of limitations that are brought up later. Yeah, but honestly, it was really good because it forced me to get out of my comfort zone and try and talk to new people and join new clubs. Like in high school, I joined a lot of different clubs in order to just try and expand myself.
You were like that already in high school? I think I let high school just completely go by.
Me too. I was not
I did
like
not
that
try
at all.
I just dealt.
But you
I just
joined
accepted
Coast.
that I would be alone forever.
But
You
did
were-
did you join Coast because of the friends or because
I just wanted to canoe.
Oh, nice.
But then even after Coast, we all fell apart. Like nobody
Mm.
really stayed in.
Hey, I
as
invited
a
you to
Coast
my
group.
house for Halloween.
Nicole invited me to her house for Halloween, but has no recollection of it.
I have no recollection, but I did.
What?
Him and Liam Savage.
Yeah.
It was awkward.
Was
Oh.
it awkward?
It was awkward.
You didn't have the time of your life?
She doesn't even remember.
We
You could-
watched a movie.
Wait, did you feel like included when I invited you to my house, or did you feel like I was like doing it out of like pity?
I felt like it was semi-pity, but like at the same time, I accepted the pity.
Oh. Okay.
I think that like is very like the epitome of the high school experience.
Mm.
accepting pity.
Is like you're alone, but like you would rather just have the pity hang out.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you feel like you have the same personality as you did in high school?
No, but also yes. I don't think we changed that much. I think even from as we were kids, I think you hold a lot
I
of
know
the
it's
similar.
so strange. I actually agree too.
Yeah.
Really? I feel like I'm so different than when I was in high school.
But when you're authentic and you're your true self, like there are a lot of similarities from.
You're just masking, Nicole.
Maybe I
maybe.
am. Oh no.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to do some deep self-reflection.
But I don't think you can ever prove it. Everyone's different too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
How were like your friendships then, especially moving out of high school and going? Well, not everybody goes to post-secondary, but just like leaving high school and making friends in the real world.
I feel like because I didn't feel like super a part of a friend group in high school, that actually like pushed me to leave and go across the country because I wanted like a fresh start and I wanted to just make new friends and everything. So then I did, and then I kind of ditched all my friends here, I think.
You went to McGill.
I did go to
That
McGill.
seems like a trend
Montreal.
for you.
Whoa, okay, slow down. Look, we're here now.
We're here now.
We're here now. We're all friends. We're all besties.
I think that's so
We go to
interesting too,
trivia.
because I feel like that is like such a Coquitlam experience to be like, I had no friends and I want to leave as soon as possible.
I don't know.
I feel like a
know
lot
if
of people
that's-
I know did that though.
Yeah, me too.
How did you
Jerome
feel?
can't relate.
I'd
You
be
were like,
interested
I
to-
want to stay in Coquitlam forever and ever.
No.
You're not even in Coquitlam now. You live in Vancouver.
That's true, and it's nicer.
So.
I wonder if there's a correlation between living in the suburbs, where it's kind of away, and living in a smaller city where it's sort of connected, sort of disconnected, with wanting to move somewhere else, like in movies.
We were
and-
small town.
Yeah, yeah.
But we
It did,
also
but it kind
weren't
of did
small
feel
town.
small town though. Did it not feel small town to you?
Maybe it felt small town, but when you compare it to actual small towns, we were not a small town.
That's true. That's true. It's very true. I felt like it was a small town, and I was like, I need to get out. I need to live in the city. Yeah, I cannot walk anywhere.
If
from
we
my
walk
house.
an hour from our house, we're maybe at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah. Can't get you can't walk to get grocery. It's like crazy.
Okay, maybe we are a little more small town
Yeah.
than I thought.
As a child, as a
You can't get anywhere as a
teenager,
child. If you don't have a
exactly.
car, if you don't have your driver's license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that probably pushes a lot of people to move away to bigger places or where there's more activity going
Yeah.
on.
Okay, but
because-
she wanted to do that. You kind of disagreed. What was your stance on?
I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
I had no idea. And also I did a little bit of traveling after high school. So I didn't really feel compelled to study at all, anywhere. So going to another part of Canada to study didn't really attract me because I would be in school again. And I felt like that might have ruined the experience.
Do you wish you had like studied, gone like to post-secondary?
No, not really.
Oh, please elaborate. No, I love this. I love the non-traditional. I hate that that's traditional post-secondary too.
Yeah.
So after high school, I took a gap year. I was a teacher for autistic kids. I knew the owner through church, and she had me volunteer for a few weeks if I wasn't doing anything. I wanted to study psychology, so I thought it was a good segue. And I had some experience working with kids and not really teaching, but it was fun. And I realized I didn't want to do psychology anymore. So I went to school, studied general business to see if there was anything that I did want to do. After a couple of years of that, I didn't feel like I was learning anything practical.
Oh, yes, you did go to school.
Yeah, I went for a couple years. So I was on the path. But eventually
Why did you choose to get on the path?
On the school path? Oh, yeah. Family influence. That was the only thing driving me. And that was the only thing my family cared about. They didn't care if I was malnourished or depressed. The only thing they cared about was if I went to school and got a degree, because that would set me up for my future.
Well, I feel like that's like what it was like for them when they came, right? Because back then it was a lot more valuable. And now everyone just goes to school for the sake of going to school. And no one appreciates the learning, which is sad. I don't know if you felt that way about your school, but
yes,
like my school, like everyone is just there to like get their degree, get a good GPA, maybe go to grad school or something. And
okay, so you had a very different path where it was all, you were in a pipeline.
I was in a pipeline.
How did you feel about that? Good or bad?
I honestly just thought it was normal. Like I thought just everyone goes to post-secondary, gets the degree, finds a job, or like goes to more school. So that's like what my parents did. That's what my brother's doing. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was normal too. And I was kind of ashamed for a while that I didn't go to school.
Aww.
I felt like I was going against the grain and that I would be a failure. So I really respected people.
How did you navigate that then?
I spent a lot of time trying to research what I wanted to do. Online. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, did a lot of, read blogs, and I tried to meet people. In high school, I went to networking events.
In high school?
I did, yeah.
What do you even network for?
Nothing, just to meet people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, Jerome really has always been like that.
Yeah, I don't do it
I respect
for the sake
that.
of doing it. I don't just want to meet people.
There's an ulterior motive?
Yeah, wait. Hold on.
I want to learn about them. Don't want to just meet someone. I want to learn about them and see what drives them, because that might play into my life.
Wait, so you thought about I feel like I never thought about what my career path was going to be. It was just
Which is
medicine
so
or
interesting.
die.
I feel like not a lot of people have such a linear path, which isn't a bad thing. Like, it's kind of nice to be
I thought
able
it
to
was
just
like
have that.
so normal.
And you can lean on that.
Yeah.
And there's always a next step.
But I just feel like, I don't know.
Well, I feel like that not necessarily blew up for you a bit, but like when you didn't get into med school, how was that? Your pipeline kind of crumbled.
My pipeline did crumble, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm worthless. Okay, not like.
Did you have a quarter life crisis?
I did have a quarter life crisis, though. I was like, actually, that was like during COVID. I think I had a lot going on. But when I got rejected, I was like, I'll just get it next time. Like I never even like thought about like doing something else until I got rejected the second time. And I was like, okay, now I gotta think. But then I just got shuffled into another pipeline set by my father. So, yeah.
Did you come out of your quarter life crisis with anything?
I came out of my I think I just realized I need to enjoy life more. I think I just spent too much time like working really hard to like get into like a good university, get a good GPA. I like never enjoyed my life. I was just grinding 24/7. And then I think like having that job actually, when I got rejected from med school, that really helps me, because then I like
Some character
I had time.
development.
Yeah, I had time to like you like work and then you have free time, and that was like so foreign to me. I was like, free time, what do I do with this? And then I had to figure out what I actually enjoy doing in life, because I feel like I had no hobbies when I was young too, which is weird.
I feel like I know so many people struggling with that too now.
Yeah.
They got the job, and now they don't know what to do outside of
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Like now what? Yeah.
Life is bigger than a job.
It is.
I think enjoying life is pretty universal. It's a shame that a lot of people can't, or they just get distracted by everything else going on. Like, I really enjoyed my work, and that's the only thing that really kept me going outside of school. When I did moving, and just did some part-time jobs and learned about what else was out there. I did moving, and then I started a moving company, and it was really fun for me
Mm-hmm.
because I got to learn about the process and how it works and how to make it better. Like I was creating something. But it was still work. Like, if I forced you to create a company, you might hate it.
I probably would hate it.
Yeah. But it felt like my baby.
Mm.
I
So you
was
feel
creating.
really passionate about your work now?
No.
Oh.
It depends on what I do, because there's so many different aspects, and especially if you create something, there's so many different parts of work.
Mm.
There's logistics, there's operations, there's, just setting everything up, and there's so many different stages, right? So you might not like all the stages. So that's something to figure out. But I think the general process, if you like it enough, it will drive you.
Did you have a quarter life crisis?
I think so. Yeah, out of high school, when I was forced by my family to go to school, and I didn't want to, I started really deep diving what I wanted to do.
Mm.
Yeah, and I still don't really know.
I think that's the beauty of this stage of our life. I mean, I hated it before, and it made me
Do you feel like
incredibly
you've
anxious.
embraced it now?
I feel
you
like
don't feel
I'm
anxious
just-
anymore?
It's like, it'll happen. Life happens, and I will eventually figure it out. Okay, so you guys are both post-quarter life crisis.
I don't think so. I
Oh,
don't know. I feel like I'm
okay.
still quarter
What
life
are you
crisising.
struggling with?
I think that I'm like freaked out by starting med school, and I'm.
Is that really a quarter life crisis?
Yeah.
I think like
Really?
when I got into med school, I was like not that happy, and I was concerned because I was not happy.
Okay.
Yeah, I just felt relief. I was like, I fulfilled the prophecy. I'm like chilling now. My grandparents are proud of me. Like, I'm good. But then I was like, I don't feel happy about this. Like, yeah.
And now where are you at?
And now, I don't know. I don't know where I'm at. I feel like I'm just like locking myself into this job, and I feel like I haven't enjoyed life enough. That's been my thoughts recently. But like, yeah, you want to say something?
What is enjoying life for you?
enjoying life? I don't know.
Like, what do you feel like
'Cause-
you're missing?
I just feel like I don't know. Whoa.
Yeah, you might not be missing
I just wish
anything.
like I like traveled more, and I like hung out with my friends more, and I like had the time to like do all that stuff, and I just feel like I'm not gonna have that time when I
You can still hang out with, like,
I know. I think I was just like, it like worries me because when I was in undergrad, all I did was just like study and all the time. So I never like made time for stuff. So I got to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
That's
I think
about
Jerome
it.
and I will call you out on it
Okay.
when you don't hang out with us.
You
for
can yell at
6
me.
months.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be 6
having-
months.
Having people in your life that can keep you accountable to share the values that you really want to share and not get distracted by things is very
Mhm.
important.
Oh, and you're gonna do that for me. Now I have friends.
Of course.
Aw, look at us.
I never said friends. I said having people that would do
Okay.
that.
You don't consider me a friend?
You're a friend.
You didn't say that very convincingly. Did you see that?
How are you? Are you post quarter life?
Well, I think it's a journey. Never really.
You're always.
It's about the
Yeah.
journey.
It's always
not
a crisis.
The destination.
Yeah.
What is your current crisis?
Yeah, some struggles that I'm going through right now are organizing my time, because I'm trying to start a few different types of projects, and they all take a lot of time, and trying to learn how to delegate and have a balance as well. I find that if I don't have a balance in my life, I feel very overwhelmed, and I can't focus on anything. And so sometimes I will work a lot, and then I will go find balance in other things like relaxing or playing, and I'll do that a lot.
Ooh, what is playing?
What is playing? Yeah.
Or work-life balance is what I meant.
No, but what is
playing?
playing?
Yeah, what is playing?
Hobbies.
What are your hobbies?
I like meeting people. I like.
Is that a hobby?
That's a fun hobby.
It is a hobby. Yeah, because I get enjoyment out of it, and it's a pastime activity. So I would say it's
How
a
do
hobby.
you just meet people?
I try to find groups where people are kind of like-minded, and they're also going for that purpose, and so it's very easy to meet people. Like as you said before, Vancouver's very cliquey. Yes, if you try to insert yourself into a certain group or friend group or something, it can take some time to get used to and familiarize. But in those groups, everyone is very open. So yeah, I encourage anyone that wants to meet people to try and find groups like that, and it makes it a lot easier. I tried a dinner last week where you go to dinner with strangers. I saw something similar in Toronto or New York or in Europe, but I finally tried one here in Vancouver, and it was okay. It was not. I was a bit nervous. It wasn't the death of me. I didn't get shot, but also.
Why were you nervous?
It's nervous because you go have dinner with people you've never met before. It's such
Do you get nervous when you meet new people?
Sometimes it's a controlled environment, and you can leave and go talk to other people, or you can go into the corner and have your own downtime. There's flexibility. But at a dinner, it's so intimate, and you're kind of forced to share a meal together. It's like going to someone's home that you've never met before and having a meal with them. All right. But yeah, those are.
Do you think your high school experience informed that, I guess?
Of
Of like you had a lot of friends prior, and then you were switched around a lot, so you had to adapt.
Sort of. I think that's just who I am. Not everyone is like that, regardless of their experiences. I think I purposefully fostered some of those environments where I would seek out other groups or other people to try and see how other people hung out or what activities other people would do, instead of just settling for the people that I was associated with and becoming friends with those people. Yeah, I think a lot of people.
That's impressive. As a teen, especially?
Well, it's also hard because you're just figuring it out. It's not like you really know how to articulate, and sometimes you don't even know why you're doing it. Yeah.
How are your relationships now?
With friends?
Yeah, with friends. Nicole and I were talking the other day about like adult friendships and how different they are than as teens, where maybe you're just friends because you frequent the same places, or you hang out just because there's nobody else to hang out with, or there's an obligation, and now people are like setting boundaries and they know what they want out of relationships, or they're done being treated a certain way. Yeah. How are your friends, Jerome?
It's nice. There's pros and cons
to having friends.
Yeah, to the whole experience compared to as a kid. I don't think sometimes it's not as authentic.
As an adult?
Yeah. Like as children, before the teen age. As children, I feel like it was very open. Whereas now meeting friends feels like if you say the right things and do the right things, then it's easier to make friends. You know, like sometimes you
just be fake.
Do you feel like you have to do that when you meet new people?
No.
Like put on like a front?
Not really. I try not to. I think it's natural for everyone to do that sometimes. It's like going into an interview and you try to be on your best self, it's still you, but it may not be 100% authentic. You're trying to be better. So sometimes there's that aspect, whereas when you're a kid, you don't really try as hard. But it's also nice because, as you said, you have a lot of those boundaries and free choices. And yeah, another one of the cons is time. People are so limited by jobs and family obligations now.
Whoa, slow your roll. But then, like, your friends are making time to see you, and the time you spend together, since it's a lot more limited, is like more quality time, you know? Don't you feel that?
I would
Sometimes,
also like
yeah.
to note that we weren't friends really, this trio in high school, and post it's been 6 years and we only just started talking again.
It's been almost a year.
It actually has been almost a year.
What do you mean? Okay, well, no, but prior to that we hadn't spoken in like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, so it's nice now that you can just pick up with people.
Yeah.
But like I feel like this would have been somehow more strange in high school. Like there's a status quo that you have to maintain.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, to end off, do you see yourself in Coquitlam in the future?
No.
Why not?
I see myself like in the Lower Mainland. I don't think I see myself like in Coquitlam because I need a little more of a city vibe. But and Coquitlam still to me feels a little small.
It's a bit calm here.
It is a bit calm.
You need to get a little freaky.
Exactly.
Yeah, freaky in the city.
I need the Burnaby.
Yeah. I agree.
A little spice.
Yeah, I'm the same. I prefer the city. I would like to stay in Vancouver. There's a lot more neighborhoods, downtown, uptown. There's so many different aspects versus the static Coquitlam.
Do you think that'll change? I feel like this speaks to our current stage of life.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe as I get
Right.
older and I experience all that, I'll want a little bit more peace and come back. But also...
The return. The
Maybe I would
hometown tour.
retire in. No, I don't think I would retire in Coquitlam. I would want to retire somewhere very peaceful though. But I don't know if that's Coquitlam.
There are a lot of peaceful places in Coquitlam.
There's a lot of peaceful places everywhere.
Yeah, fair enough.
Who knows?
Well, thank you both for your time today. This was Jerome and Nicole. That's a wrap.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Today's episode featured Nicole Sue and Jerome Town. Special thanks to Subby Sarani. Music composed by Rachel Jiang. Produced with the support of TELUS Storyhive. I'm Joshua Louie, and this is The Burbs.